Okay, check this out! Today, I'm going to be making Puerto Rican beans and rice with Puerto Rican pork chops. And let me just tell you, my mom married this fine Puerto Rican man back in 1996. And him and his mama showed us how to make this shit. And it is the bomb. Believe that. Ask my friend Stephanie. I sent her home with a plate big enough for like maybe 2 people. Bitch ate them all on her lunch break.
I might have to do the pork chops later because somebody forgot to take them out. That was me, my bad. Here's everything you're going to need, okay, people? You need Italian seasoning. This happens to be called Italian herb mix from Penzeys, but we're going to use that. You need house seasoning. If you don't know how to make it, it's a cup of salt, 1/4 cup of garlic powder, 1/4 cup of onion powder, 1/4 cup of pepper, and then I add a 1/4 cup of parsley. Cumin. Good olive oil, not regular oil, olive oil. Lala said you gotta have olive oil. Bell peppers. I probably won't use all of these. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on how much beans we're gonna have. Fresh garlic. You need a mortar and pestle. If you don't have one, you can use a food processor, I guess, if you want to be janky. Goya sofrito. Goya recaito. Olives. Capers. Don't worry, Stephanie. If you don't like the capers, you can leave them out. You're also going to need 2 of these big, almost 30-ounce cans of pinto beans. You need 2 cans of red kidney beans. I don't think the brand matters on beans, you know? And then tomato sauce, okay? Then you're going to need red or yellow wax potatoes, okay? Diced ham, I like the small cubes. My mom likes the big ones. We'd be fighting and shit, but today I won because I did the shopping, so we're going to have small ham in our shit. And an onion, I forgot. Okay, so you want to chop your bell peppers pretty big. See that? Nice and big. And then I diced my onion kind of small because I don't want big old chunks of onion. Now, I got my oil heating up, and I'm about to saute these, but while we're waiting for that, I'm going to do the garlic, and you're also going to add the cumin, Italian seasoning, and house seasoning to this while you beat it all up. So we're going to do about a tablespoon and a half, not a tablespoon, a teaspoon and a half of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of house seasoning, and about a teaspoon of cumin. So hot. There we go with that. Coat it in the oil. Let them brown up. Now over here, I have all my seasoning and my garlic cloves. Lemon! My garlic cloves are in here. So we're going to start beating this to a pulp. And then if it's true dry, I'll add a little bit, like a couple of drops of olive oil. So here's what my spices look like all done. I did have to add a little bit of olive oil. But I'm going to throw this in last after I add all my other stuff because we don't want to scorch the garlic. So now I'm going to cut up 5 or 6 olives, and then we're going to put in a tablespoon of capers. I'm going to add my ham. Okay. And my olives and capers. So I added my ham, my olives, my capers, and my seasoning. So we're going to saute this all up. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of the sofrito and 1 tablespoon of the recaito.
So Walmart has all this shit that you need. It's got the Goya brand, recaito, and the sofrito. But if you go to a Mexican market, they have like a whole bunch of different brands. And it's in the frozen section in a little tub. It's the shit. It's green. It's the best. It's green, she says. Green is the best. Got to get me an olive. You know, if you in here working and shit, gotta reward yourself with a little snack.
I added my sofrito and my recaito, and now here's the secret ingredient. Goya Saison. This one, the orange one. Culantro y achiote is the shit right here. This is it. 2 packets of that. Is that both of them? What? Okay. Yeah, stir that in, and then we're gonna transfer everything to the pot with our beans and a little bit of chicken broth. All right, so you cover your beans with water, and then I'm gonna add a heaping tablespoon of my Knorr chicken bouillon. I just dropped my spoon. Where is the English side? Damn. Is there not an English side? Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, this is what you put in there. Okay. Tablespoon, cover your beans with water. Bam. So I've added everything back to the pot. I'm gonna stir this up and probably add a little bit more water so it's not so thick. And then I'm going to quarter these potatoes and throw those in there as well. So I added 6 or 7 fairly large red potatoes, and now I'm gonna do about a half a can of tomato sauce. The acid in the tomato sauce gives it a little bite and some color. I'm gonna stir all this up, and then we're gonna cook it. So you're gonna return this to a boil, and after it boils, you're gonna cook it for 10 or 15 minutes so the spices can meld and so the potatoes can be tender and delicious. So at this point though is when you taste your broth and see if you need to add anything. Nope, it's delicious. Oh my God, Craig.
Now would be a good time to get your rice cooker out and make you some white rice, because Puerto Rican beans and rice are served over white rice. I don't know if I told y'all that. Yeah. So. I cannot stress the importance of trying different foods. I mean, if you think that like American food, Italian and Chinese is all there is, you are missing out on Puerto Rican food, on Thai food, Indian food, Pakistani food. Ugh, just get out there, get you some recipes, and try everything, man, because some of that stuff is just so good. Like this Puerto Rican beans and rice, oh, let me tell you. The first time we had it, we all flipped out, and we ate it for about 4 months straight. It's that good. And my cousin would be so proud of me, because in the interest of conservation and not being wasteful, I'm going to use this basmati rice that I made for my curry the other day. I'm going to use that instead of making a whole other batch of rice, because that's just wasteful, you know? If this isn't going to be eaten, I'm not going to throw it away. Yeah, it's a longer grain, skinnier Indian rice, but it still tastes like rice. Shit, we're supposed to put this under our Puerto Rican shit and make it a little intercontinental. Intercontinental? Whatever, we mixing shit up today. Don't judge me. You know when your time of the month is coming up that you be craving that salt, and nothing helps it like a little bit of pickle juice or some olives. I'm just standing around waiting for this to boil. I mean, it's getting there. Oh, you guys, if you could smell this.
Okay, it's finally boiling. So we're gonna put on a 15-minute timer. Lala! Put on a 15-minute timer! And here it is. My rice down there. Oh, it's gonna be so good. About to take a bite.
Puerto Rican food!
So it's still kind of watery. You don't want to keep cooking it and try to reduce the fluid, because your potatoes and your beans will just turn to mush. So if this is too watery for you, you can get an emulsion blender and just stay on one side of your pot and blend all the beans up, and that'll thicken your sauce a little bit if this bothers you. I happen to like it this way, but my mother does not. So here's my emulsion blender. If you've never seen one, that's what they look like. Okay, so I'm gonna one side. That thickens your sauce just a little bit. Let's see how this looks over the rice. Oh yeah, that's better. See?
Okay, so my mom wants to make chili this weekend, and last year I just looked up a chili seasoning recipe and then kind of tweaked it and made my own. So I'm doing that again for her today. But she swears it was the best chili seasoning she's ever had in her life. So I was going to share it with you guys. It's 2 teaspoons dried parsley, 8 teaspoons of chili powder, if you're smart, it's 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons. These people can't do math. Half a teaspoon of black pepper, 4 teaspoons of paprika. Again, that would be 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon because 3 teaspoons make a tablespoon. 2 teaspoons of dried basil, 1 teaspoon of the red pepper flakes, crushed red pepper flakes, 2 tablespoons of minced dried onions. I don't like that. They taste kind of sweet to me, so instead of 2 tablespoons of the dried onions, I put in a teaspoon of onion powder just to keep the flavor in there, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, and 4 teaspoons of cumin. So again, it would be a tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of cumin. And I also add a tablespoon of the tomato bouillon chicken flavor. And something else. What else did I add? Hold on a minute. Oh yeah, I did like a dash, a sprinkle, a tiny bit of cayenne pepper. You know what I'm saying? Kick it up a notch with the heat. If you want it hotter, I would definitely not do more than 1/8 of a teaspoon because cayenne powder, well, I tell you what, that shit is hot. And then, of course, a teaspoon of my house seasoning because there's no salt in that recipe. But it is really, 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 really good chili seasoning, and you can use this little container. This is how much it makes. Okay, I don't know if you can see that from far away. Is that better? Which will do up to 4 pounds of meat. So, it's a big old thing of chili. Last year we did it with 3 pounds of meat and almost used all of the seasoning. We added most of it and then kind of backed off on the rest until we wanted, to see how it tasted, and then added a little bit more, I think, and then we just had a little bit left over. But we also had the beans in there and 2 cans of, a can of stewed tomatoes and a can of diced tomatoes. So it was really good chili. What are you getting into? Get out! Get